What's up, everybody? Your favorite IFBB pro, Seth Feroce, coming at you with another video. We have part 3 of Steroids, Drugs, and Life. This has become quite the series. Meeting so many of you at the Arnold and out in public everywhere now. This chicken and rice motherfuckers and all the training stuff. But this series here has become something that's a very taboo subject to talk about because, let's face it, these are the subjects that no one really likes to talk about because it's fucked up. You know, the drugs and life part of it are just something, and no matter what area you work in, whether it be, in our industry or something else or anywhere, it's part of life. It's just life in general. And the judgment that gets passed upon us all for what we do in our life, whether it be steroids, our past with drugs, our past with relationships, our past with anything that we've done, these are all taboo subjects to talk about because it brings up a lot of feelings that no one really knows how to handle. And, me, my wife, and in my life, with my family, I have a very tight circle. And I have that because we've all been through some really fucked up times, along with a lot of people. But the judgment that I talk about, the reason that I talk about this subject is because I no longer really give a fuck about too much. I do, but I don't care what people say about me. That's pretty much it. Because me, I'm open with everything. I have to be. That is the only way for people to truly grow as individuals. And anybody that's successful usually accepts that and says that as well. And the reason I talk about it is because no one else really likes to. So hence why, if you haven't watched the first 2 parts of these, part 1 and part 2, go back and watch them and come back and watch this one. We've danced around the subject of steroids, talked a lot about, what to do, like how to research, and my rant in part 1. In this one, we're going to get into some more in depth, and y'all wanted a cookie recipe, so I'm going to start mapping you out one. We're going to talk about how to build a protocol. We're going to talk about how to map out your progress and all that. But with the judgment thing upon this in life, fuck you all. You know what I mean? At some point in your life, you just have to be you. You know what I mean? Don't dance around it. Don't do anything. Just be you. Be the best you can. And me, with everything I've done in my past, every situation happens for a reason. Every single fucked up thing that's ever happened to you has happened for a reason. I accept that. Now, does that mean that they were all good? No, but there is good in there. There's good in every single subject. There's good in every single experience that you've been in. There's good in it. Whether it broke you, you cried, you were emotional for days, weeks, months, you were a mess. It still fucks with you in your head. It still sits in the back of your head. How do we move past that? And to grow as a person, you accept it. Okay? Me, with everything I've done in my life, I have to accept what I've done and move on and remember that I don't want to do that again. I don't want to feel like that, nor do I want someone else to feel that way. However, those things that I did, that's how some people are going to view me. That's how they're going to remember me. And that with me sits worse than, since I did something horrible, that sits with me way worse than when someone does something fucked up to me. And I'm sure all of you can relate to that. So the next time you're about to pass judgment or talk shit or anything like that, just remember that, remember you're not perfect either. And hence, I'm going to touch on the subjects I talk about them so I can educate you. This is not a tutorial on how to. This is a tutorial on how to help you shape into something better. That's it, man. So, excuse me. So, with that being said, today, I'm done dancing around the fucking subjects. I've seen some really crazy shit all over the internet about protocols, what this guy's taking or what that guy takes or what this is and what that is. It's fucking unreal. I can't believe, I've never taken that much and I become relatively successful in this industry. And I think that it's time to just cut the bullshit. I'm going to teach you guys what to do on how to build a protocol, how I have done it since day one. Because anybody, if you've already known me, I'm a pretty simple motherfucker. I don't get too intricate with things because you have to scratch the surface level of understanding and then go little by little into it. Get as much as you can from as little as possible and build from there. That's how you do this. And in steroids, and doing all in this industry, okay, when it comes to this stuff, I keep it as simple as possible. You have to. What I'm going to do today is show you how I've done it since day one. How I've got to this point, I still do it the same way I did 10 years ago. So that's what we'll go through today, and I guess there's no other way. Let's just get started. So building a protocol. This is the cookie recipe that all of you so wanted so badly. Whenever I'm doing this, okay, you'll always see, I always got this notebook. Always have a fucking notebook. And the reason is because I document just about everything I do. Whenever I'm doing it, I'm going to figure out how many weeks I'm going to be on. Okay? Am I going to be on 10 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks? Whatever it is, I just start listing how long I'm going to be on. Start mapping it out right here. Now, forgive me, this isn't my notebook. It's not going to be as pretty or match up with the lines and everything. It's just on this. So we'll do... There we go. We got our 12 weeks. 12 weeks, 16 weeks, 20 weeks, whatever you're doing with whoever you are. Remember, if you're a fucking beginner, don't take shit for 20 weeks. That's way too fucking long. That's for someone in my situation that I'm prepping for a show that I win a lot of fucking money and try and impress the world with. That's because I'm in the situation I am. I accepted that. Move the fuck on. Here we go. So, got our 12 weeks, and then across the top, all I'm going to do is write down what I'm going to take. Okay? We take our test. We got our DECA or EQ. We're probably going to throw in an oral in the beginning. This is very basic, okay? Oral in the beginning, then maybe some trenbolone acetate, maybe some Masteron, maybe another hardening oral at towards the end of it, and then we can't forget our Nolvadex or Arimidex and some growth if we take it. So, what type of testosterone to take? We're not front-loading. We're not doing anything. I am a cypionate guy, testosterone cypionate. It's a really clean, real simple test cyp or test enanthate. That's what I recommend. Sustanon, haven't found too many good susts lately. I think that now with as many underground labs, they try and overdose it. Just haven't found too many good susts. Not a big fan of it. What I'm mapping out here is just a simple, basic concept. Then we have either our DECA or EQ. Okay? One or the other. Or you take one for so long and then take the other for the other part of the cycle, whichever one. And we'll have an oral. I prefer D-ball over Anadrol. It doesn't mean I don't like Anadrol, but Anadrol tends to, after so many weeks, it kind of fucks with my appetite a little bit, and I don't like it. And I've noticed that I get better gains from D-ball, me personally. Then we'll put some trenbolone acetate, Masteron propionate, that is. One of my favorite drugs is Masteron. Hardening agent towards the end, Anavar. Then you have your Nolvadex. I prefer Nolvadex over Arimidex. That's me personally. Everybody has their preference. I like Nolva. And then the GH. Now, from this, you can already see pretty fucking simple what's about to happen here. I'm going to map out what I take from week 1 to week 12, write it in this column. Very simple. Okay? What are you going to take? How much? What are dosages? A good place to start, 500 mgs. You don't see too many people do more than 500 mgs their first couple times, nor do I recommend any more than that your first couple times. Me personally, as a fucking professional bodybuilder, I hang between 800 to about 1,200 mgs of test a week. Anything higher, I have taken 1,500 mgs a week. That was way too fucking high. All I did was get big. I was 240 some pounds, 48, 49 pounds. Big as fuck, stronger than a motherfucker. But then at the end of the day, I had so many shitty sides, it was ridiculous. Oily skin, fucking just... I hated it. Didn't like it. And therefore, the benefits, the gains, the benefits didn't outweigh the sides. There was no benefiting that. And that's something that is everyone's personal preference, because I know guys that drop 2 Gs a week, 3 Gs a week, and they're fucking big and huge and this, and I'm like, man, I don't even know how the fuck you could take that. Personal, that's everybody's little thing there. So, you map out what you take in each week. Okay? Very simple. And also, whenever you're doing this, you can start with, say, 750. And if you're at 750 here, and then you end at 750, after you're done your cycle, that means your body is used to getting 750 milligrams of testosterone. And then you're going to completely stop and think, oh, I can take some Clomid and Nolvadex and be fine. No, motherfucker. So at the end, you want to begin to taper your body off. If you go to 750 here, 500, and then 250, say one more week after that, therefore your body can come down from the dosage of testosterone, and then take your HCG. Don't fucking buy a cycle without HCG. You fucking need it. Next, we have our DECA and we have our EQ. DECA and EQ, this is the butter to the bread of the meal here. This is your bread and butter, I call it. DECA and EQ, it's up to you on which one you want to take, what type you're going to do. DECA is also going to obviously going to make you a little more fluffy. With DECA, you want to take half the amount of DECA UR test. So that means that if you're taking 600 mgs of testosterone, you take 300 mgs of DECA. No more. The reason being the side effect known as DECA-dick. That means that you can get a hard-on, but then whenever you're using your hard-on and you're going, all of a sudden it goes, where did I want to go? That's DECA-dick. You don't want that. That defeats the whole fucking purpose of doing this, to get gains. So you want to make sure you're taking 50% of the testosterone. You do not take twice as much test as you do DECA. It's pretty much what you're doing. However, if you're like, oh, I'm going to take 600 mgs of DECA, that means I have to take 1,200 mgs of test. No, you got it backwards. Start with the test and then go to the DECA, okay? EQ is, it's one of my, I like EQ because it is it's a drug that is much more mild in side effects, and the gains that you make from it are substantial. However, they don't give you the water bloat that DECA does, and it is a more solid gain, if you will. You don't get fluffy. You tend to be a little tighter, and on a lower calorie diet, it helps keep your gains and keep you strong. However, at high doses, EQ makes you hungrier than a motherfucker. So this is half the amount of test, okay? And this one here, I usually keep this. If we're at, say, 750 here, I'd probably keep your DECA at 300 and keep your EQ between 300 and 400 the whole time, okay? Now, if you go from taking DECA for 6 weeks and then EQ for 6 weeks, because this is your science experiment on your body, just write in accordingly, okay? That's it. I color code everything. So for week 7, we go EQ. There you go. Now you're color coordinated. That's that visualization I was talking about with this. On Feroce Iron Academy, there is a much more detailed explanation of this to give a solid cookie cutter, or not a cookie cutter, a cookie recipe, I should say, of everything. Now, your oral in the beginning. We aren't front-loading this at all, okay? These substances take time to get into your bloodstream, okay? They take time to get into your bloodstream. They don't act immediately. Within 3 to 4 days, your SIP will take full effect and it'll meet its peak blood level, and then after that, it will taper down. Hence why I usually take this once a week. You can take it twice a week, but once a week. It's a longer-acting ester. Your cypionate, 7 to 10 days. Me, I take it every 5 days. I'm on a different schedule. I'm a little more advanced, but whatever. So these things take time to get into your bloodstream and take the full effect. So I usually like to say, let's take an oral, such as D-bol or Anadrol, in the beginning to help get into your bloodstream a little faster. With D-bol, I usually would recommend that you take it no longer than 5 weeks. A healthy dose of D-bol is probably 30 to 40 milligrams per day. Okay? You want to be evenly spaced throughout the day, morning, noon, night. If they're 10 mg tabs, take 3 a day, morning, noon, night. With that, probably by week 3, you're going to know that you're on some shit. Your blood levels will be up. You'll be nice and swollen. You'll be pumped. You'll be feeling it. You'll know you're on. So I don't recommend any longer than 5 weeks for D-bol. Trenbolone acetate. This is everybody's fucking favorite drug. I have always loved Tren. However, it's fucking nasty. At high doses, it's fucking ignorant. A lot of side effects come into play. Night terrors, sweating constantly, the taste of metal in your mouth, the trend cough, and everybody's favorite trend dick. Those are those are the best memes on the internet, in my opinion. Eating ass and trend dick. I think those are my two favorite. So if you have them, you got to tag me in that shit. I want to see them. They're hilarious. But anyway, what's a dose of Trenbolone acid? Trenbolone acetate, that's the faster. That's where you're taking it every other day. Faster acting. There's trenonanthate, which you can take once a week. However, for Trenbolone, fuck that enanthate shit. I don't like it. I prefer acetate. When do I take it? Now remember, this is your science experiment, okay? You are the teacher, you are the student, and you're the fucking guinea pig. There's no one grading this except you. There's no one conducting this except you. And there's no one testing this out except you, because this is yours. Therefore, treat it as such. Don't be a fucking idiot and think that somebody else is going to do the work for you. This is yours, and hence why I'm building this for you. With Trenbolone, this usually comes in, it's usually dosed 75 to 100 mgs per cc, okay? And I say that with this, anything over 300, 350 mgs per week is getting up there. I say 250 to 300 mgs a week is good. That's where I would hang out. I don't see a reason to. If you start getting up to 500, 600 mgs a week, yeah, dude, you're going to be fucking asking for it. With this, I do not run Trenbolone I would not recommend running it any longer than 6 weeks, whether you're in contest prep or just a fucking gym bro that loves Trenbolone, kind of like me. I say 4 to 6 weeks tops. Anything longer than that, you're asking for it. And the only way to find out is to fucking do it. However, where would I be? Like I said, I would say 250 to 300 mgs. When to take it? Me, personally, for experimentation reasons, I'd say you could start at week 4 or week 5, okay? Right in here, week 4, then week 5, week 6, week 7. So you got 4 weeks of your Trenbolone at 250 to 300 mgs per cc, okay? Therefore, you have that. Now you're going to know what the trend is like whenever you have test, EQ or DECA, D-ball, and Trenbolone. You're going to be on some fucking shit at that point, ladies and gentlemen. Whenever you're on that, again, this is a science experiment. You'll be able to write it down and see how it all works. Then we have our Masteron. Now, when do I take Masteron? What is Masteron? Masteron's a tremendous hardening agent. It's one of my favorite drugs. Very hard. It's a hardening agent. I'm going to say that at this one, this is similar to Trenbolone in the dosages. Keep it between, around 300 mgs a week. I've taken a lot more. This is a drug you can get a lot of studies on, medical studies done. You can read a lot of medical studies on Masteron. I fucked with it up to 500-600 mgs a week. You get hair loss is its major side effect. But again, it's a great drug for contest prep to help keep you strong, keep your gains, and make you harder than a fucking rock. So, where would I take it? I'd probably say I'd end up taking it like week 8. So you have a week of it with your Trenbolone, and take that for 1, 2, 3. Take it for 3 weeks. Take it for 3 weeks at 300 mgs a week. That's a bottle, so then you know what it's like to take test, your EQ or DECA with some Tren and Masteron. This week, you'll be a fucking animal. Then we got Anavar, where you're going to add in the Anavar. Me personally, I'd say take it no longer than 5 weeks, 4 or 5 weeks at the very end to help harden you up. And with this is a pretty mild anabolic. It's a great for contest prep. Helps keep you very strong in a low calorie diet. It's a hardening agent. I don't know if I said that 3 fucking times already, but it's not as harsh on the liver and kidneys as some of the other orals. Hence why it's on my little recipe here. I prefer it. I would say you could take it like 9, 10, 11, and 12 your last 4 weeks. Dosage wise, you're going to end up being around 30 mgs of Anavar is plenty. You're going to notice, I know people that go all the way up to 50, 60, 80 milligrams a day. That's a fucking lot. Don't need to hang out. 30 mgs a day. Your Novadex, your anti-E, you're going to run the entire time. Me personally, with something that would be dose 750, 340, this, I'd probably say 20 mgs every other day. If you notice sensitivity or more aromatization going on in your body, up it to 20 mgs every day until the flare-up calms down. Same with Arimidex. Novadex, I prefer the Nova. Arimidex, 1 mg a day is way too fucking much. I would recommend a half a mg every other or every 3 days would be plenty. Start that, run that the whole time. With your growth hormone, we're looking at, I turned pro on 3 IUs a day. First time I took growth hormone was at Nationals 2009. I was taking 3 IUs a day. That's what I was taking. I know people that take 10 a day. I know people that take 20 a day. But fuck it. At this point, there's a lot of talk about growth hormone. That's a whole nother video. Me personally, I'd say between 3 and 6 IUs is plenty. Morning or evening, which one's better? I know guys that are jacked as fuck to take it at night. I know guys that are jacked as fuck to take it in the morning. If I were you, run your science experiment and write it the fuck down. Take it for, 1, 2, 3 weeks in the AM, and then 1, 2, 3 weeks in the PM. Simple as that. And then you'll be able to look back and see how you looked via your progress pictures and what time and when you were taking it. How to map it out. Like I said, there's a much more detailed description on Feroce Iron Academy. But this is it. This is an easy recipe. There's some dosages. I talk about, me. These are drugs that I've taken 10 years ago and still take to this day. The most I was running not too long ago, I was running 1,100 mgs a test, 1,200 mgs a test, 600 mgs a deca. I was up to about 50 mgs a D-ball, and the reason I was doing that was because that was something I did previously when I was much younger. And the notes that I have upon it are completely different than, an image and how I looked and how I felt. Me being older and more mature and having much more mature muscle, the DECA did not affect me the same way that it did in the past. And it does also have a lot to do with my food regimen. But also, now I'm, 6 years older, 7 years older. That's 7 more years of training. That's 7 more years of controlled eating. All these things come into play, and I wanted to see where I was to see what I was capable of doing at that. Very simple. I want you to get as much as you can from as least as possible. But again, this is your science experiment. You're the teacher. You're the student. You're the guinea pig. Each one plays a different fucking role in this. Therefore, there's a lot of moving parts. You're the guinea pig. If somebody else was the guinea pig, you'd be like, yeah, fuck it, pump them through this. Let's see what happens. But everyone's their own guinea pig because everybody reacts differently to everything. There's a pretty smooth understanding about how it's supposed to go. But now, whenever I take this drug, yeah, my skin is way thinner than it was years ago. So now, I'm harder than a son of a bitch when I take it. Before, it wasn't the same because I had a lot of intermuscular fat. I was, baby, young muscle instead of older, more mature muscle. Striations come out so much quicker now. For God's sakes, how the fuck does 3 weeks of healthy eating, clean eating, and cardio every day, my ass striations start to show up somehow? You know what I mean? So I'm much different, and hence so are you. But documentation is everything, and you're the science experiment. Okay? You're the teacher, you're the student, you're the guinea pig. Yeah, that's it. So now you'll be able to have this mapped out in here. On a piece of paper. It'll look much more pretty. The numbers will be clean, and you'll be able to see where you are with what you do. This is how I prefer to do it, okay? All right, so the next thing that goes along with that, whenever you're building a protocol and having a goal, because this is all goal-oriented, you don't just fucking start a cycle without having a goal, an end result, like I want to do this, and this is how I want to look, this is what I'm going to do. That protocol is just one part of it. We also have training, and we also have eating. With the eating, the same fucking thing, okay? This is going to be on your pretty sheet of paper in your notebook. Our 12 weeks, same 12 weeks. But now we're going to go over our eating, so now we have our days of the week. Sunday through Saturday. Now, this is where I got kids and I got my fucking crayons and colored pencils, have for 10 years all over my house. And me, I'm a very simple son of a bitch. So, have all my colors. This is in my pretty notebook. On here, I don't write this down anymore, but I got my protein, carbs, and fat. Protein, carbs, and fat. My macros. That's how I counted everything. I never fucking counted calories. I knew inside my head that, guess what? There's more fucking fat in red meat than there is in white fish. It's not too hard to fucking figure out, but I don't need a calorie count. I need a macro count. That's how my head's always worked. That's me personally. If you do your thing, do your thing. I don't give a fuck. But maybe if you look like shit, you should probably change how you do things. So, here, I did that. I'd write that out for all my weeks. Therefore, I'd know how many I have. Protein on Sunday. Okay, I always eat 300 grams of protein. 300. And then carbs on Sunday, I'm going to have a 150 day and fats at 30. Here, to this day is one of my high carb, or another lower carb day, 150. Right here, 300. And then I got, today's a 50 day with the fats, here's 30. And with this, I'm going to keep it at 30. You're going to map out what you do. And then on Thursday, on Wednesday, we're going to have a high carb day. So we're going to do 300. We're going to do 400 carbs. And the fat, we're going to do, we'll do 25. And then I would write that down for whatever I was doing, okay? It was all controlled right there. Okay, that's great, but now all I see is numbers. And that would confuse me, and not confuse me, but it would be tedious. It would become boring. I wouldn't be able to see patterns, because what we're looking for are going to be patterns with how our body works. Me, what I would do is, or what I do, on my high carb days, I would square off all my high carb days. Okay? If I square them off, I'm now able to see how this is going to go. And these are random selections, but I would be able to visually see where I'm going with everything. Same thing goes for cheat meals. I'd circle my cheat meals so I knew that that's what it was. And then I would also keep other side notes about what I ate and how I felt and all that happy-go-lucky shit. But now, if I have in my notebook, I have my protocol on this page, I have my food on this page, and I have my phone here for all of my progress pictures. Okay, I put all my progress pictures in a different album on my phone called Progress Pictures. Therefore, I can go back into them, scan through them, and say, oh, look, that's the date. Okay, where was I with my protocol? That's where I was with my food. That's how I looked. I can go to 2 days after that or 3 days after that and look, okay, that's where I was with protocol. That's where I was with my food. That's why I look the way I do. You now are in control. And I do this because now we can go back and see what worked and what didn't work. Because how many people out there ever look back and be like, yeah, that's what I did? I think. Did I do that? I had a cheat meal. That's why I was way fuller. Maybe you didn't have the cheat meal. You can't remember. That's what I mean. Like, I was never good at that. But whenever I go back into my programs, I have an electronic device here that has everything dated and pictures right there for me to see. And then on my notes, I have everything written down right here. Very simple. Keep things very simple. And you can do this same setup. Chest, back, legs, off. All this. Oh, we had cardio. AM cardio. Or however you want to map that out there. Then that's the other. Then I can go back and I can look at the third sheet and be like, oh, I was off on that day. I woke up, there was no cardio that day. I looked like this. This is how I felt. Look at that. I even got notes on how I felt that day. Bro, it's all sitting right in front of you. I know it's more work, but to become that much better, you have to do the work. I have notebooks full of this information. Full of it, because that's how I learned myself. That's how I was able to figure out all these different things I have. All right, so The more documentation to do, the better. I mean, you can have this all mapped out 12 full weeks, and you look back and be like, oh, man, that's wild. I remember whenever I switched up my training protocol at week 6, let's look back. I looked, oh, man, yeah. It's all sitting right in front of you. So, pretty simple shit. And me, I color code everything because it's easier visual and I'm able to see the patterns and you'll be able to see the same. This is how I did it. This is how I still do it to this day. It's not hard. It's not over the top. It's not crazy. Very simple. You can do this. It's not hard. Yeah, man. So with this all being said, all I want you to do is learn. I want you to become better. I want you to have a better understanding about how things go and how to make a better cookies than you're making right now. You wanted a cookie recipe? There's the beginning of it. All right? Like I said, on Feroce Iron Academy, we have much more detail about all of these dosages, a little bit more in depth about like what I personally like, what I've done, some of the crazy fucked up stories. We'll talk about those in another part 4 maybe, about rec drugs and those so we can kind of shed some light on it all. So at the end of the day, I just want you guys to become better. I want you guys to be able to become better versions of yourself because here's the thing, the way I see it. If I'm the king of my household, my wife is my queen. If I'm having a bad day, I'm not the best I can be. You know, I need to come first in my household because if I don't put myself first, then therefore everybody else will not be as good as they can be. Because I have to operate at the highest level I can be for the benefit of everyone else. So if I'm having a very shitty day and I'm down in the dumps and I come home, more than likely everybody's going to be worried about Dad because Dad always makes sure everything's okay. And that's so common in everybody else's households. If my wife is having a bad day, the same thing. She rules the roost at home, man. She makes sure that everything's ready. She makes sure beds are made, laundry's done, dishes are done. She takes care of the house. Mom's having a bad day. Fuck, man, Mom, how can we make your day better? The same thing goes for me, but you need to operate on your highest level. So putting yourself first in a sense isn't such a bad thing, okay? Because you can't afford to be depressed. You can't afford to be emotional wreck. You can't afford for your protocol that you're trying to do to become better is fucking with you and you become a crazy lunatic fuck off. No, man, you need to be the best you can be. Hence why I do this. These are subjects nobody likes to talk about, and fuck you, I'm talking about them. But hope this sheds some light. Ask some questions. It's the beginning of a cookie recipe. Let's start making some good cookies for you guys. All right, everybody, with this, I just hope you guys learned something. Enjoy, watch the video again, check out Feroce Iron Academy. Kiss your kids goodnight, give that wife a good slap on the ass, and treat her like the queen she is. Fucking A, everybody.